The following program is produced by the Tech Talk Radio Network.
Hi, this is Adrienne Barbeau. You're listening to Tech Talk Radio, and you're going to learn a lot.
Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Welcome.
First off, I want to apologize because I have promised you I was going to get this to you, and it's been a while, but we are going to be getting this out. So Logitech sent us over the StreamCam.
Yes.
That we featured on our episode on CamSB Fox 11. And I know you really wanted to take a look at this.
Yeah, I'm patiently waiting. But yeah, I want it. But then you mentioned there's a problem with it, though.
Well, the only problem, I think, and for a lot of people that aren't ready for it, is that it's a USB-C connection.
Yeah.
Which everybody says that's the new way to go. I mean, you look at what they're doing in Europe.
I think eventually it will be going. But who's got... Unless you've got a brand new laptop or got a PC with a brand new motherboard, and I mean brand new as in like the last year, you're probably not going to have a USB-C port on your PC.
So the workaround on this is to get an adapter. But then, does that deflate the value of the USB-C? You're running through an adapter?
If you go down to the nitty-gritty, the electrical components of it, yeah, maybe just a little bit. I don't know. I'm excited to try it. And I've got a laptop, so I can always plug this into a laptop as well that does have a USB-C. Maybe I can kind of compare the settings to see, how there are. You're
gonna do a review for this. The StreamCam is a 1080p, 60 frames per second. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
The other thing I really like about this, Justin, just looking at this, is the Logitech capture program. Now, for anybody who doesn't use Logitech devices, their capture program is pretty full of stuff. I mean, you can do all kinds of things, whether it be green screen, chroma key. But one of the features of the StreamCam is the ability to capture your frame, and it will actually, so if you move to the left, the camera will digitally be able to keep you centered.
That's pretty cool.
Depending on the field of vision that it has. So again, I can't wait. We're going to get this out to you this week so that way you can kind of go.
I'm looking forward to it.
So what have you been working on?
Well, besides my full-time job, I've been following along with a couple things with Android. First off, they announced Android 12. It's being released to certain customers, but it's not being released to Pixel, which is interesting because Pixel is a Google phone, and Pixels have always been the first people to get the latest Android operating system.
We talked about this last week, how really when you needed updates, Google was really kind of the first ones to get that.
Yeah.
The Pixel.
Speaking of Android 12, that's the other kind of thing I've been, following. Well, actually, that was the first thing. The other thing was the Pixel 6, and I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But Android 12, they're saying that it's going to be the biggest change to Android since Android Lollipop, which was 5.0.
Oh, wow.
This is Android 12.0. So it's going to be the biggest change. And a lot of people are talking about it on the tech blogs, the guys that have had the insider access to see this previously. They're saying that a lot of it is more about the aesthetics of Android. Right. You're going to have a lot more rounded edges. Things are going to look a little bit different than you're used to. But for the most part, from what they can see off the bat, Android 12 is more about the aesthetics than performance.
Yeah, and that's where, that's kind of the thing we see. And obviously, the big talk this week was Windows 11. And, well, a lot of people say it's the aesthetics. I mean, it's a new look for your desktop. It's a new way to do it. A lot of people I know say, stop messing with it. Just, give us better performance for the opening of the programs.
Well, that's what the hardware comes in. I mean, I could arguably say that's the reason you get hardware every 2 years is because the performance goes. So the operating system has to keep up with it. I don't know. It really is a toss-up on performance, whether or not iPhone versus Android. What's better?
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of just goes in cycles.
I am surprised that I've held off because normally I dive in, but I'm waiting. And already there was 15.1, and we're going to see as Sean was telling us last week, we're going to keep seeing these. Once you get a major rollout, you're going to start seeing the .1s, the .2s, the .3. I mean, with the last iOS 14, we were at 14.8. and we're still making some changes.
Well, that's something to be said too. I want to touch upon what you just mentioned there about how, you're going to see, as soon as you get a major rollout, you're going to see a lot of updates. And that's where product developers like Google with Android 12 or with Apple with iPhone or iOS 15, this is where their work week starts.
Oh, man.
Per se.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they've worked so hard on making the operating system, but now once you release it to the masses, now you're going to find out what the true bugs are.
Yeah.
And so these guys and these girls out there that are working so hard to make us these operating systems are going to be so busy for the next 12 months, 12 to 18 months. So next time you find a bug with your phone and maybe something crashes and you're like, oh, gosh, darn it. Just take a moment and think about the developers behind it and how hard they're working to make this right for you.
Yeah, hats off to the developers, right? That's how it works. I don't know. The thing is with iOS 15 and moving up, if you've ever used a previous iOS or even Android for that case, I've had Android devices. Honestly, I've never had an issue. I really haven't.
Yeah,
it's always worked good.
I've had a couple issues with certain apps, but those aren't apps that are necessarily approved by Google. And that's the thing. That's the beauty of Android is I don't have to go through the Play Store for every single app that I want to do. I can sideload things. And sure, you sideload stuff that's not approved by Google. Yeah, you might run into problems.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's been great.
I've had it with iOS situations where I have an app that I paid for that no longer works.
Yeah, because they update something on the software, they update something on the hardware. So the other thing I want to talk about too was, I already mentioned Android 12 is out or about to be out to the masses. The next thing is the Google Pixel 6. So it's been long rumored. It's been talked about. People have been guessing. People have been leaking images.
We talked about it last week.
Yeah. So, we did. And so earlier this week, Google finally announced the release date. The Pixel 6 will be out on October 19th.
Wow, that's quick.
And they're also teasing a Pro version. So it's they're going along the lines of
Pro Max and that Apple has.
Pro Max and stuff like that. So I'm kind of a little upset at Google for calling it the Pro. Yeah. Like, come on. I mean, why? First off, you got Microsoft with Windows 11, which could be called iOS 16, okay, or Mac OS 16, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
And then you're going to have Google. They're going to call their phones Pro. Are we just all bowing down to Apple?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I digress. Anyway, but the Pixel 6.
Let's be fair, though. Who has a stronger footprint when it comes to smartphone operating systems? It's Android.
Android, by far. Actually, it's funny. People are like, no, there's no way. No, there's no way. There is a way. You're considering just the U.S.
Yeah.
Globally, Android has an 85% market share.
Yeah. Android is the one that people are using.
Yeah, over. Because the thing is, you're not talking about just your Samsung Galaxies or your Google Pixels. You're talking about your Xiaomis. You're talking about your OnePlus.
Yeah.
You're talking about all the Chinese versions that I don't even know exist. You're talking about the Indian ones that I don't know exist. You're talking about African phones that I don't know about exist.
Yeah.
There's a lot of phones that are running Android and only one phone that runs iOS.
So let me ask you, and I know a lot of people see this and remember the days when they used a flip phone, right? And now we're seeing the manufacturers going back to developing a flip phone that basically flips up and it's an LCD screen they look good. But do we really want to do that?
No.
Have you thought about that?
I've touched one. I've put my hands on one.
Yeah.
I put my hands on the brand new Samsung Fold.
What did you think?
Or whatever. I hated it.
Yeah.
So a good friend of ours, Andy, I know you know him. I obviously know him because I work with him. Kirk Yunke. He's the morning anchor on Fox 31 KDVR in Denver, and he's their tech guy. So he brings in all the products, and he gets all the new products. And he came into my office one day, and he was like, "Hey, man, I got this new toy." And I'm like, "Well, what's up?"
Yeah.
He threw this on my desk, and I'm like, "Wait, what is that?" And it was folded up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Is that a pager? You know, like, is that like a space age pager? And he's like, no, open it up, man. It's the new Samsung. And I opened it up, and I was expecting to see a beautiful, perfectly crisp, clear screen. No.
Nope.
There's a fold in the center. It's
That would be irritating after a while.
oh my gosh, I could not get over it. I was like, no, there's no way. I can't do this. Like, think about watching your big screen TV at home with a fold right down the center vertically.
No, I
or
couldn't do it.
horizontally, if you will, I guess. You can't do it. It just, your eyes are going to be constantly drawn to that. All I can say is it's imperfection.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing you're getting with this foldable phone is more pocket space because it folds up. But really, when you open your screen, I don't think people are concerned about pocket space. I think we long gave up that battle a long, long time ago.
Well,
right?
they started making the phones curved so that people could put it in their back pocket. You know, they started giving it a little curve so you can put it in your back pocket. You won't crack it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the phone manufacturers have won that battle, and now we're like, wait, we want our pocket space back? And we're going to give up our screen?
Yeah.
No, I did not like it. And Kirk was like, oh, you'll get used to it. I'm like, what, are you going to give me this?
He
He's
actually
like,
liked
no.
it?
He liked it. He said after a while, you get used to it. I'm like, no, there's no way.
No.
I couldn't do it. I can't do it.
I'm
No.
also wondering, like, what kind of are they making protectors for those? I mean, we think
I don't
about,
think
OtterBox. Yeah,
you
how would you do that?
Yeah, you can't. Well, no. There is a case for that. Yes, there's a case.
Right.
It's a two-part case. So the top half and then the bottom half. When it folds up, it's like 95% protected. But like when you unfold it, you still got that middle part, that middle back hinge, if you will, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's unprotected. And then not to mention the whole screen. So like, how are you going to do a screen protector for that? You can't.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to split it into two, and then you're going to have another line on your screen where the screen protector ends.
Yeah, I can't see me really jumping into that one.
No, not at all.
You know,
now the Pixel 6, I think I can see you jumping into.
You know, I'm using the iPhone 8s Plus, I think. I don't know. It's one of those big ones.
Yeah, you need to upgrade.
And I like it. It's been working for me. It's been working good. One thing that was announced this week also, and matter of fact, now available to order as of yesterday, which is very cool, is the iPhone Watch. The new, well, not the iPhone Watch, the new Apple Watch Series
iWatch,
7,
right?
the iWatch.
Yeah.
And back...
Or no, it's not called the iWatch. It is called the Apple Watch.
The Apple Watch Series 7 now has been announced. It's now available for pre-order, which is crazy because just back in December, I bought the Series 6 as a Christmas present. So now that one's already out of date. How much better can they make these watches? Because I know people are listening right now that have thought about getting it, and they get just as flustered going, well, wait, I didn't buy that one. Now, do I buy this one or do I buy the older one?
Well, no, because that's what Apple does. They want you to just keep buying their products. They're like, wait, that's the 6, but the 7 just got released. Mm-hmm. And I guess every manufacturer does that. They want you to get the most. Windows is like, oh, you got to go to Windows 11, and or Google, go to the Pixel 6 or whatever. But I feel like Apple is more guilty of it than others because they advertise so heavily when the new phone comes out. Google, on the other hand, I haven't seen a single ad for the Pixel 6.
No,
it's
I haven't
just
either.
there.
Yeah.
It's just there because they know that the people that really want it are going to get it. The technology behind it improves. What's Moore's Law? Remember Moore's Law?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Gordon Moore was a guy who was with Intel, who basically, came up with this theory.
I got to give a shout out to the Company Man, okay, on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because he's called The Company Man.
Right.
His channel. He just did a whole episode on AMD versus Intel, and that's when I remembered Moore's Law. He talked about Moore's Law. And that, if you haven't seen the battle between Intel and AMD on YouTube, go check out The Company Man on YouTube, and then And then while you're there, check out Tech Talk Radio on YouTube.
There you go. I like that. Now, and
you see what I did there?
I thought that was very good.
Yeah.
You snuck that right in.
Just snuck it right in.
See,
Nobody even knew.
Now, I was an AMD user. I mean, my first processor.
I've always been an Intel.
I was an AMD user. I used that for the longest time. And I remember being a little nervous about making the jump to Intel.
Well, I kind of in that same boat right now, to be honest.
You're thinking about going with AMD, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just upgraded my computer, though. That's the problem. And then we got this massive chip shortage. I don't think I'm going to be able to find one at a reasonable price. So I think I'm going to be stuck with what I got now. No, I'm not unhappy with what I got. I've got an Intel i7 8770K,
Right.
which I got a good deal on it, but then not realizing that that the 8770 is like 3 generations behind.
It's amazing.
Because now they're on the 11 series,
Right.
and they're about to do those 12 series. But I can't upgrade from the 8 series to the 11 series because they changed sockets.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
was it
now
1151 into a 1200?
something like that. Yeah. So I have 1151 right now. Now they're doing socket 1200 or whatever iteration they're on. And so then that means I'd have to get a whole new motherboard. Mm-hmm. And then on top of the motherboard, well, is my RAM going to work? Then I have to
You
get
might
more.
have to get new
I have
RAM.
to get new RAM, and I just upgraded the RAM.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stick with this right now. But I am interested in AMD. People say the Ryzen 9. Well, really starting from the Ryzen 5, the Ryzen series in general is amazing. But the Ryzen 5 was great. The Ryzen 7 was amazing, and the Ryzen 9 is, oh my lord.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You can't even get any better than this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I really want to try it. I want to jump in, but I'm in the same boat. I know it's going to mean new motherboard, new processor, new memory, all of that. But yet,
Maybe a
I'm
new
wondering-
power supply.
yeah, is it going to be faster? Am I going to really feel it?
Oh, my gosh. Oh, yes, you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt the jump from going from my i7 6770K to the i7 8770K.
Yeah.
And I'm overclocking it, to be honest, actually, I'm overclocking this one less than what I was with the 6770. The 6770, I have it overclocked to 5 gigahertz.
Wow.
It was amazing, but it was extremely hot all the time.
Yeah.
The 8770, I've got it overclocked. I think this one was a 4.3 base clock. I'm overclocking it at 4.8. And I
Man.
still feel it. I mean, it's great. I press the power button and I get to the desktop in about 15 seconds, which is slower than my 6770, because my 6770, I'd press the power button, I'd be at the desktop in like 5 seconds.
Right? Yeah. It's funny how that changes. And if you go back just 3 years and think about your boot up time from that, and plus, you're using the newer technology. You're using an SSD.
Yep.
But even think when we were on spinny drives, how you went from that and went to the SSD. The first time you booted with an SSD, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question, though, and I don't know if you know this one. So if I was to go to AMD and change, get a Ryzen and go that way, do they have slots for M2? Do those motherboards support M2?
That's
See, I don't know.
that's a good question, but I want to say yes, because that is not a technology they control.
Yeah.
I think that's a standard. I believe M2 is globally introduced. But I wanted to touch upon something just real quick, because there are people out there that are listening right now that are probably like, well, I don't understand. Why would Justin go from a 5 gigahertz overclock to a 4.8 gigahertz overclock? And you're quote unquote upgrading your chip. Well, because the reason is, and I'll give this an analogy, right? It's about the cores of the chip. It's not the speed of the chip. It's about the cores.
And how much computation it could do.
Yeah, so you've got a 6-core processor versus an 8-core processor versus a 12-core processor. The best analogy I can think of is, or off the top of my head at least, I'm sure I could think about something better later on, but if you got one guy with a sledgehammer tearing down a wall, a cement brick wall, all right, that's a 1-core processor.
Got it.
He could be as fast as he could go. Let's say he's running at, if we could arbitrarily say he's running at 5 gigahertz per second.
All right.
Right? You still got one guy doing it. You got one guy doing it. Now you introduce more cores.
Yeah.
So now you got a 6-core.
You remember when we went from single core to dual core?
Yeah, dual core.
It was and then you had quad core.
Quad core.
And
yep.
now it's more.
It's usually 6 or 8 going up to 12. So again, you're going from one guy with a sledgehammer running at, let's say arbitrarily, 5 gigahertz per second, knocking down that wall, right?
Right.
because that's 5 gigahertz per second.
That was
That's
very
what,
fast.
That's what it sounds like, to be honest. I've actually heard it. But then you go to 6 guys with jackhammers at 5 gigahertz per second. Right?
Right.
Then you go to an 8 core or a 12 core. Now you got 12 guys jackhammering at the same wall at 5 gigahertz. That is the difference in between these processors. It's not the speed. People keep thinking, what the heck? There was a 4.2 gigahertz processor 6 years ago. Why would I want to buy another brand new 2021 4.2 gigahertz processor?
Check how many cores it has.
Exactly. And not only that, let's go with that analogy again. These guys are knocking down that wall. What are they doing with all of those bricks that they're knocking down? They're putting them to a wheelbarrow behind them. That wheelbarrow is the cache of the processor.
That's important because a lot of people don't understand how cache is going to change that whole game.
And so you think about the cache in terms of these guys, let's say all 12 of these guys are hammering down this wall. They're creating bricks left and right. They're putting them into this tiny little wheelbarrow behind them. And that wheelbarrow has to keep going and dumping it, keep going and dumping it, keep going and dumping it. That slows them down because they are producing more bricks than the wheelbarrow can hold. Now you introduce a higher level of cache, let's say 512 megs of cache. Now you've got 512 wheelbarrows.
Right.
And it's just a constant stream. So it's very streamlined. And that's my analogy in terms of upgrading your processor.
You also have to look at the motherboard. What manufacturer are you getting it from?
Yep.
What type of connections are a part of that? What are your options? We think of those, and so I've seen people go out and go, oh, wow, I can buy this, for example, a laptop. I can buy this laptop, and it's only $300. It has 2 USB ports, one which is USB 3.1, the other one is USB 2.0. You're going to see a speed difference between those that support USB 3.1.
Sure.
But then you might look at a laptop that is $700, $800, but that one will have maybe 4 USB ports. That is going to make a difference on how you're going to use your system and what's plugging into it. HDMI out, having that capability. So many different features come. So you really have to, sometimes you're going to spend more, but look at what you're getting in the long run. Nobody wants to be saddled with a slow computer.
Honestly, if you're going to buy a computer or you're going to build a computer, I get it. There are a lot of people out there that just don't have the budget to get the best.
Right.
All I can say is get the best that you possibly can afford because you're going to future-proof yourself for a little bit longer than everybody else.
Now, this doesn't follow Moore's Law, really. I mean, the idea of,
No, I disagree. I think it does.
Because you're not going to replace your computer every 2 years.
No, but the technology is... Well, okay. No, I get it.
I think we've superseded that now.
I think we have superseded that. Yeah, the technology necessarily isn't doubling in capacity or doubling in performance every 2 years, but we are seeing things get smaller and faster every single year.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I think we're kind of slowing down. We're on the downward curve of Moore's Law. I think we have hit that threshold, but things do still improve. I consider myself lucky to have a computer that will last me 5 years.
Right.
Every 5 years or so, I would probably consider upgrading. Unless I hit the jackpot or unless I become a Bitcoin millionaire, then yeah, I'm going to be upgrading every week.
Well, the way it's going, you never know. It's been climbing back up again. So I built my system in 2016, so 5 years now. And I just ran, for example, I ran the test on my big, this is my big system. It's got 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's got a great video card. It's got, Intel, I want to say it's 9th generation in it.
Okay.
And I mean, it can handle pretty much everything I throw at it. Video editing, photo editing, audio editing.
What did you say you had for a graphics card?
It's a Radeon.
Okay.
I don't remember the actual, but it's good. And I remember I paid a pretty penny for it 5 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
I just ran. Now, if you're wondering if your computer will run Windows 11, all right? So you go on to Windows Update under your search bar. You do, and now they are telling you whether your system will be able to run Windows 11. I ran it on all 3 computers. We got 2 here in the studio. Got one in my office. That's the powerhouse one.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 computers cannot run Windows 11. I was like,
because the TPM
me?
chip, right?
It's got to be that. But my 2 laptops that I have here, I've got a Dell, which is a basic business book laptop that was provided by another company I work for. That one, I just did a test. It will run Windows 11. My Lenovo, the one that I really love, that I got a great deal for, I spent $600. It's worth about $9. That will run Windows 11.
Oh, come on.
The laptops will, but not my desktops. So, I'm at that point where it's like, okay, do I want to race to increase just to have 11? Do I really want Windows 11? And that's, a lot of people made that decision this week. Some upgraded, some not so happy. Monday, they released it a day ahead of time. So it was supposed to be out on Tuesday. They went ahead and put it out, making it available for people. But if you want to see if it'll run, just go to Windows Update in your search bar. That's down at the bottom of your taskbar if you're running Windows 10, and you'll be able to find that there. But check that again. And they may be pushing out the updates geographically, or just pushing them out to certain users. So anyway, we got to take a break. Coming up, I've got something that Eric would love to get his hands on.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And we don't have it in-house yet because they just started taking pre-orders this past Monday. It is. Remember Talking Tom? It was a little video character you could play on your phone. It was kind of cool. Well, Talking Tom has evolved into games, and now they have an actual Talking Tom, an animated character, but he's real. He sits on your desktop, and his eyes are animated. He'll move. He'll make sounds. His ears will move, and they're selling for like $99.
Oh wow!
And I got the CEO standing by. We're going to find out all about it. So that's coming up. And then we're going to be talking to Mark Saltzman. Mark Saltzman has all the latest gear you might want to be thinking about for the holidays. And then we'll be back to wrap up the show here at Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Justin Lemmy.
Find us on the web at techtalkradio.com.
And on Twitter at Tech Talk Radio.
We'll be right back.
Now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
And we're back with Tech Talk Radio. When we get ready for the holidays, there's so many cool things to look at. And every year, we kind of wait for that one special thing. But honestly, this one is above and beyond what we could have expected. And we have with us, standing by, and a demonstration for you, for those that want to jump on and check out the video, the co-CEO, Kevin Maurer of Huge Play. Thank you, Kevin, for coming on the show.
Well, my pleasure, Andy, and so nice to be on the show.
Talking Tom has been around for a while, and you have found a way to kind of combine Talking Tom itself and the technology that's out there to really make this an interactive experience. Tell us a little bit about how this all came to be.
Well, you have to go back a little over a year, and myself and several other executives out of the world of toys and entertainment got together and said, look, there's got to be a much crazier, more direct-to-fan way to do all of this, right? I mean, I myself, and frankly, everybody else in the company, we are fans, right? We're into comic books, we're into games, we're into movies, we're into toys, we're into play. And there's just this stuff that we have always wanted to do and always wanted to make for fans. So we got together, we created Huge Play, which is direct to fan. We actually don't sell at any retail. And basically chased everybody else out of the room. And what we do is put 100% of the funds that would normally go out to everybody else into making something amazing. And that's what this product is. It's the first our company is putting out, but we set the bar way up here to do something that was technologically extraordinary. This little fella has artificial intelligence in his head. He holds an incredible amount of programming, and he connects directly to your mobile gaming, your Talking Tom games. And while you play, he knows exactly what's happening, and real time he acts as a streamer.
That is amazing.
And by the way, he has his own attitude, and he constantly says stuff, and so he's a ton of fun.
Now, this is geared at what age group would you say?
Well, this is really for all family. I wouldn't call this a kid's product. Frankly, we call it a piece of living game gear.
Yeah.
So really, it's for that 7, 8 to 14, and 14 and up as well. So And when you play with him, you'll notice that the content that's in him, although it's very appropriate and super funny, it's not dialed down. It's really meant to be serious gaming fun.
Now, can more skills be added? And how many hours of content does he really have that he could go through?
Well, if you take a half-hour show and you compress the content, it comes down to about 5 minutes. We have 5 hours of compressed content in this little... And he has voice recognition.
Oh, that's great. So he's responding to stuff that you're saying. He can kind of understand, and that's where the AI comes in.
Yes, the AI does 3 things. One is while you're playing the game, because he knows everything that's happening in the game live, he's actually commenting on your game, even giving you game hints. Watch out for that. Oh, turn left. Oh, be very careful with that. Oh, you do know that those guys have this, that, and the other thing. And he keeps track of your score. He knows how much of the coins you picked up. And frankly, even when you turn the game off, he goes into the second mode, which is called free play mode. And he starts listening to what you're saying and asks you questions, and you drive the conversation around these crazy subjects because he stays in character. He's Talking Tom. And the third mode is there's this mode that is called command mode.
Right.
And in the app, there's literally hundreds of acting routines and phrases, and you can call them up and puppet him and make your own video content, interrupt Zoom calls, harass the cat, whatever you want to do. He's in your control in that third mode.
Now, the eyes are amazing because they're very expressive. How is that done? Is that like a screen of some kind?
Absolutely. Frankly, we have a number of patents all throughout his wonderful head. And some of them are for these eyes. There's these extraordinary lenses that are in front of 2 very high quality LCDs. And, we live in the age of animation. So his eyes don't just move, they're full on animation, and all kinds of interesting things pop up there depending on what he's talking about.
I got to ask you, what was the moment like when you go through your first prototype and you get it set up and it starts really working and you see these expressions? That had to be exhilarating for you as a creator.
Best ever. Just say it.
Oh, I love this.
Well, he's... Why do you even have me on the interview? Just talk to him.
I can just interview him. Yeah.
It was an incredible moment. I have to give credit where credit is due. The executive team brainstormed this item, a little over a year ago. In the middle of COVID, basically we created and produced this, brought it to market. The executive team has only been in person 4 times.
Wow.
But it was incredible when it actually started doing what it was supposed to do. And to be honest, again, because we're different, we're not the same as other companies. Once we saw what it could do initially, frankly, we dove in even further, and we started adding more functionality rather than trying to pull things out. So, we want to make this massively profitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, we have to be profitable, but because we're fans, we really do focus on making this a crazy experience for the fans that we would love to have this.
Well, would Talking Tom only interact with games that you're playing that are basically the Talking Tom games? Is it special games that are developed just for this experience?
Super good question. For the GameBud Talking Tom. GameBud's a brand. Talking Tom is the license. It starts out with 2 of the Outfit 7 games. And I don't know if you know this or not, but the Outfit 7 games have had literally billions and billions of downloads. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've got it on my smartphone.
Awesome. Hundreds of millions of weekly users. There's this massive fan base out there. But because of who he is and this little incredible AI that's in his head, we're going to be able to update additional games over the course of next year. So he's starting with 2, where he's probably going to have 3 or 4 by the end of next year. And you actually upload additional content into him that is DLC, just like in a video game.
Right. Very cool.
So if you want like birthday content, or you want ridiculous, if you want to make your own song to like taunt people when you win, there's even DLC for interactively creating, your own unique song with them. It's crazy.
How was it putting the group together? I mean, Game Bud, you've got your company, you've got Outfit 7. Everybody was on board right away?
Absolutely. We actually met them through some very good friends of ours who are working with them on a new TV show, and they're licensing Epic Story Media.
Right.
They introduced us. Honestly, it was an incredible kind of love fest. Day one. They're amazing people. They really are. They're extraordinarily passionate about what they do, and just a dream to work with. And I think early on, they got the vision that we had for just how incredibly high function we could make this. And they've been working with us virtually every single step of the way to achieve that.
Now, as far as charging, as far as the power operations for it, everything needs power. I don't know if you feed it. How is it powered, and how long can you get a charge out of that?
Well, he has a small USB port on the back. Every now and then he'll talk to you about it, and
Really?
it gets a little slightly embarrassing. But you plug in the USB, he'll let you know when he needs to be charged, and you plug in the USB line, and it can be off your computer or off a charger block. It doesn't take too terribly long to charge him up. I want to say half hour, 40 minutes. And depending on how what you're doing with him, like gameplay, you can get 2 to 3 hours of nonstop gameplay. And there's very few people who play, mobile games for 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
So,
And it's funny because over the years, I'm a parent, so I've seen it. Talking Elmo. We've seen some of the other things that have come out, and they were big when they came out. And I forget those babies that were out there. They were kind of scary looking, but those were big. This really is just the tip of the iceberg, I think, of what you're going to be able to do. Now, parents don't have to be worried that it's not Talking Tom's not going to suddenly walk around the house. I mean, he's you put him up and there it is. It's a fun experience for the kids. And I think the parents are going to have some fun with this too. I'm totally loving this.
fantastic. And, it's one thing I think is important to say is although he does have a microphone, there's no camera.
Mm-hmm.
We don't save any data. It doesn't get pushed to any server, and you can't hack what you don't have.
Right.
It's all literally real time in this. This is, again, part of putting in an extraordinary, powerful chip in his head. It's all actually processed real time in his head. So it makes, frankly,
so good.
I know it does.
I think he touched his ear.
A lot of people just that we've been having test this out literally just leave him on because he's a smart aleck and he says stuff, and he's a blast. It's like hanging out with somebody for sure. So
Be a good security device too. Somebody breaks in, they see it, they run. I like it.
or you find them playing with him like, they're home.
Exactly. Now, how much is this going to be going for retail? And you said our listeners are going to be able to order this. They're not going to be able to go into a retail store and do it. And this way, you're able to keep the costs down a little that way, aren't you?
Actually, a lot. It would be about twice what I'm going to tell you if it was at retail, because there's everybody else's margins in between, the manufacturer and getting into retail. But because we're direct to fan, again, we just cut the price. So for this remarkable little guy, he is $99.
That's it. That's pretty darn good. I will tell you this. I've spent a lot of money on stuff, for my kids growing up. This would be like, oh yeah, we're getting this. This would be cool.
Awesome. And we're not only doing $99 for the price, but I'm sure you and most people out there have read about or seen the incredible mess that's happening with shipping anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And most toys are not going to make it on shelf this year. If you're going to buy them, it's going to be January when you and the family gets them.
Yeah.
But actually, we've made the commitment. We are air shipping. Talking Tom, especially the first 10,000, and I'll tell you about those, directly to the consumer. So especially that first 10,000, which is an unusual grouping, much more certain that you'll receive it before Christmas.
Oh, perfect. Now, so when is the start date? When is the date that you plan to start taking orders? And you're doing pre-orders now, aren't you?
We actually, this is a perfect time to be talking, because tomorrow is the day that all the pre-order goes live.
Right. And we recorded this for our listeners that are listening on the radio. We recorded this earlier this week on Monday. So now you could do the pre-orders. You could actually pick it up. Pick him. I feel bad saying it. I want to say pick him up because I feel like it's real.
That's what we wanted to achieve with this little guy. And by the way, in the first 10,000 of them, not only do you get literally a certificate of numbered authenticity.
Wow.
Only the first 10,000 are going to have them. We saw this happen with the early Furbies, that the people who got the early ones,
Yep.
They became crazy valuable. But then he also gets a superhero mask that you can put on him, so he looks like in Hero Dash, Talking Tom Hero Dash game.
Oh, that is
and
so cool.
that's only the first 10,000, but we think that's pretty cool.
Now, that was Talking Tom. Now, will this be available? And just a question, because this is something that's going to be a global phenomenon. Will it be available in other languages?
It will, but that will be next year when we start taking it out to other territories, and it will be in other languages as well, where frankly we're already in those conversations.
Yeah,
and there's a tremendous amount of interest to do that. So for sure. We'll be in other territories.
I'm just absolutely loving the concept. If our listeners want to get more information, Kevin, where do they need to go to?
Just go to gamebud.com.
Gamebud.com. They can check him out there. And again, thank you so much for coming on and showing. This is just an amazing, amazing device. Great ingenuity. So, kudos to all of you there that have put this together.
Thank you, Andy, so much for having me on the show, and Tom, thanks you as well. So
very cool. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio.
And now back to Tech Talk Radio.
We have had Mark Saltzman on the show a couple of times. We call him a friend of the show now because he has been on more than once, and it's always great to talk with Mark. Mark is I call him a technologist. You see him all the time on CNN and many outlets talking about the latest in technology. And Mark has got some really cool toys to show us, some really cool gadgets that can be helpful and a lot of fun. Mark, it's great to see you again.
Yeah, likewise, Andy. Thanks for having me. And you're right. The tech I'm going to be chatting about today is great for kids and parents. That's not always the same devices there, right? Sometimes the kids like it, but moms and dads roll their eyes or the other way around. So why don't we start off with a couple of music-related items. The first is called Tonybox. This is a smart speaker for kids, if you will. It comes in different colors. You place these characters on top called Tonys, which are usually figures that are, well known to the kids, like Disney franchise characters like, Elsa or Woody or Little Mermaid. And it unlocks music and stories from that property. So from that TV show or from that movie. So it's very magical for the kids. It's screen free, which the parents love, but you just place those little Disney figures on top, those Tonys, and then you'll hear familiar songs like Life is a Highway, for example, or the Frozen songs. And then parents and grandparents can also record their own stories for the kids through the My Tonys app. And the kids can hear that through their very own smart speaker as well. So it's $129 for the Tonybox starter set with Target. And again, you can choose the Disney franchise that your kids are most into. And it's just a smart way to give the kids something of their own. Yeah. And then speaking of music, giving the gift of music lessons is awesome. And BYJU'S Future School has added music to their coding and math online lessons. So it's called Perform with Music. It's It's a new online program that offers one-on-one video lessons with a music instructor to teach kids guitar or piano. And it is designed for kids ages 6 through 18. It's a performance-based curriculum that helps students master an instrument and build confidence with 3 different course levels. And I love that there's also a social element that kids have to perform, even if it's just for their family. They have to perform with the instructor online. So it does build some performance skills too. Now, no instrument is needed for the free trial class. And then after that, the 1-hour private classes start at only $24. So very affordable. And in the era of COVID, you're not letting an instructor in your home, or you're not letting your child into somebody else's home. So it's really timely as well. The website is byjuicefutureschool.com/music. That's BYJUS music school, futureschool.com/music. I love, again, so I'm a former musician turned geek, but I do love when tech meets the arts, like we just saw. And the next product that I want to chat about is very similar, because it's called Artie Max, the coding robot by Educational Insights. And what Artie Max can do is not only teach kids coding, those kids are ages 8 and up, but there's 5 different languages to teach, but it draws your code into colorful works of art on a piece of paper.
Amazing.
So they're visually seeing, the results of their work. It's really magical. So you place Artie Max on top of a piece of paper. There's some markers that you get with Artie Max. You place markers inside of Artie, and then it draws your code. So really putting the A in STEAM, right? Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, while building critical skills and encouraging artistic expression. Artie Max is $109 at Amazon. So a great gift there. Again, this fusion of tech and art. Love that. Next up, Andy, I think you'd really like this a lot. This is one of my favorite gadgets of 2021. It's called the Sandisk iXpand Wireless Charger Sync. Now get this, you place your smartphone on top of it, any Qi-enabled iPhone or Android phone, and not only will it charge it up wirelessly and quickly, but it'll back up your photos and videos for you into the charger itself. So
Very cool.
Just in case something happens to your smartphone, you misplace it, it's lost or stolen or damaged, all your precious memories are captured in full resolution inside that base. And then you can retrieve it after that. So it's really smart. $79 to start for 64 gigs for the Sandisk iXpand Wireless Charger Sync. And then speaking of memory, for those creative types out there, there's new internal memory from WD Blue, this new NVMe, as it's called, for really fast speeds if you're a videographer, a YouTuber, what have you. And then finally, something to stay on your game this holiday season and beyond is a personal finance app that's racking up all kinds of awards because it's super easy to use and powerful as well. It's called Simplify by Quicken, and it is a personal finance app that helps you stay on your game. So you can securely connect your accounts to it first, your bank accounts, credit cards, and all that. So you can see what's coming in and out in real time. You can set budgets, goals, you can get notifications if you're about to reach your budget, for example, for the week. You can do something like in April, say, I want to buy an $800 TV for my family this Christmas. It will automatically segregate the funds for you every month so you don't spend it. Super smart. You can see your information in colorful graphs and charts, and really helping you stay on your game. You don't have to have any sort of experience. Really simple to use. After the free 30-day trial, it's as low as $2.99 a month for Simplify. So a few ideas today, Andy, that some are great for kids, some are for moms and dads, most are for both, which is pretty rare, but always great to chat with you about some ideas.
Same here, some great stuff. And we're going to see this stuff available through the holiday season as well.
Yeah, so it's available now because there is a bit of a shortage, as you might have heard about, supply chain challenges this year, in part due to COVID, but for some other reasons as well. I just wouldn't wait. I'm a procrastinator. I would shop earlier than later just to ensure, that you'll get these products in time for the gift giving season. It's only early October, but definitely check these out.
Mark, all great products. Always great to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on Tech Talk Radio.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
Welcome back to Tech Talk Radio. So, Andy, what did you do on Monday this last week?
Monday, I was pining for my Facebook.
Yeah. So, I'm sure a lot of people are aware, but Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all of it went down for the worst outage that Facebook has had since 2009.
And it wasn't like it went down for a half an hour.
No.
It was down for a good
It was down
part
for
of
like
the day.
eight or 10 hours, really,
Yeah.
before it really came back. I mean, some people were saying that, they didn't have a problem. And here's the funny thing about it, though, is like if you try to access Facebook on the web, like a web browser, you couldn't do it. The actual domain itself was up for sale.
So somebody had put a DNS issue. It was basically a DNS issue.
Yeah, and so people are like, already you got the conspiracy theorists out there saying, no, it's not a DNS issue because somebody hacked them and they deleted a bunch of code. No, actually, it wasn't just a DNS issue. It was a BGP issue, and BGP is the protocol that runs the internet. It tells routers how to reach each other.
Right.
And somebody at Facebook put an update into the BGP table that ended up propagating across the entire internet, deleting the path to Facebook across the entire world.
It's like if you have your bridges to Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, it's like knocking out all those bridges.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
there, but you can't get to it.
You can't get to it. And also it messed with the DNS records and to the point where the DNS record went vacant and a site put it up for sale. Now, thankfully, it was still owned by Facebook. It was an error. I'm sure there are many, many people out there that tried to buy Facebook.com when it went up for sale momentarily. But yeah, this was a bad outage.
Yeah.
But then you got people like, what are you going to do when you can't access, I guess, certain people's favorite, social media?
Well,
What do you do?
Some people, and I've heard people talk about, this is the way we stay connected. This is the way we reach out to our relatives. For those of us that use it just, with friends and stuff, yeah, I can understand. Hey, come on, it'll be fixed. But for those that want to reach out to their relatives, and that's the way they stay in touch, I can understand the turmoil it created for people.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I get it. And that's kind of the angle that Zuck has taken on this whole stance. Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO, founder of Facebook, he's like, well, we know that you want to stay in touch with the people that you care about most. And there are so many people out there trolling Facebook. Like, actually, Facebook is the people that I don't want to keep in touch with. or people that are even saying on Twitter, they're like mentioning, y'all, Facebook is down. Can we just go ahead and keep it down for good? I think that's better for society.
Yeah.
Well,
the 60 Minutes interview from last week, if you haven't heard about it, we're not going to get into it, but it was pretty damning.
Well, not only that, but now you got the lady on Capitol Hill, the former Facebook product manager, who's testifying against Facebook, saying that they know what they're doing. And a lot of this was covered in that Netflix documentary or whatever, the Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
Right?
Great documentary.
The TED Talk, if you will, about what Facebook is really doing to society. And so what she's kind of bringing to light, like, yeah, pretty much everything that guy was saying is true. Yeah. That Facebook is more concerned about profits over privacy or profits over safety. And so earlier this week, Zuck released a massive email. It's like 16 paragraphs long that he says he released to all of his employees about the current situation. The funny thing was, he dedicated an entire one paragraph to the outage.
Right.
And 15 paragraphs debunking and trying to put damage control upon the issue that they're having with this 60 Minutes interview and now this congressional hearing. Like, you can definitely see where his anxiety lies. It's not about bringing down Facebook for 8 hours.
No.
It's about, oh my gosh, are we going to get shut down or regulated because people think we're, that's where his issues lie. And rightfully so, because I agree with a lot of the stuff that's being said about Facebook, that they're not in it to keep people attached. They're in it to make money.
Oh, yeah. It's an advertising platform.
Yeah.
Just like radio, like this radio is
well, sure,
is
but
a platform,
in a different way.
Yeah. Even streaming media now is an advertising
You don't see
platform.
radio stations stuffing their content down your throat, whether you like it or not. You kind of do with Facebook.
A lot of people were jumping onto Twitter going, is Facebook down? Which happens every time you have something that goes down, whether it be Snapchat or, WhatsApp or whatever. You go,
or Google.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Is it down? There's an easy way to find out. There's a website. We'll give it to you. This will be our website of the week. We've mentioned it before, but in case you missed it, It's Down Detector is one of them, and it's pretty good. You get on there if you're having problems.
Downdetector.com.
Yep, if you're having problems with the cable service.
Be honest, the easiest way to do it is if you still have internet access, just go to Google and type in "is blank down," like "is Facebook down," and the first couple links are going to be Down Detector and a couple other major platforms. You can easily check those sites. You just click on that link. It's going to take you right to the page. It's going to show you how many people in the past hour or so, or 24 hours, have reported problems. And if you see that graph spike at the very end of it, you're like, okay, yep, there's definitely a problem because people are reporting it.
There's the issues.
Yep.
All right. Well, a busy week this week. We'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio next week. Hopefully, Sean will be able to be in with us, Broadway as well. And we're hoping for the return of Amanda, at least at some point. She's been super busy with school stuff.
Yep.
So she's still out there. She says she wants to come back. The last thing she did was get a code to play a game, and then we never heard from her again.
Uh-oh. That's not cool. Amanda,
we need a review.
Yep.
All right, we'll be back next week with more. Visit us on the web at techtalkradio.com.
And on Facebook, facebook.com/Tech Talkers. Have yourselves a great week.
You enjoyed that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.